Okay, so what happened to Snap yesterday? Snap dropped 17% yesterday. And this morning it's back up, a little over 1.5%. And that's a good thing. But what actually happened yesterday? Snap reported its earnings and it had much larger losses than anticipated, not just by the analyst, but themselves, even though the revenue grew. Now there's going to be all sorts of ideas and pundits coming out saying this, that, or the other thing about this little part of their business or that little part of their business. But the bottom line is really this: if you raise your revenue and your losses increase, what that means is whatever you're doing isn't working. Because if you're making more sales and you're making less profit on those sales, that's going in the wrong direction, and whatever you're doing isn't working. So whether it's advertising or whatever these other options are, it's not working. Now, if you can correlate it back to a very specific event, let's say you put a bunch of capital out and you're buying a new, building or a new factory or something, and you can show that, hey, this was a one-time. That's one thing, but this is Snap. They don't do that. So we don't really have this one-time event. So this is continuing to be a problem. And let me show you what I mean. In a market that's actually up, and granted, the S&P is not up 20 or 30%, so I'm not saying that. But when the S&P is up, 5, 6, 8%, and you have a stock that's down 27%, that's a problem. Normally, when you see these types of trends where the market is just not buying what the company is selling, it's normally a sign of a bigger issue that the market is looking at going, we don't think you've dealt with this yet. We don't think you have this under control. And we don't believe that this is something that you can handle going forward. So when you're looking at a stock like a Snap or other, there's other companies out there that have very similar, returns. Take a look at it and make sure that it's something that's really going to fit your long-term perspective and that you think the company has a good long-term goal. Because I always tell people, it's not just what they've done in the past, where are they going? And at this point, what the market's telling you is that they don't believe where this company's going. Dickie out.